This is Gerardo Del Real with Resource Stock Digest. Joining me today is the president and CEO of Aben Resources, Mr. Jim Pettit. Jim, long time no hear. How the heck have you been?
Well, I've been good. It's been quiet, but I've been busy. I've been really busy getting things ready. So
You know
saw
that-
the news release. We're ready to go.
That's a great way of putting it. I know that you've been busy behind the scenes. It's been quiet news flow wise. That is about to change for the next several months. I think that the news release captured it perfectly. So I'm just going to read it verbatim. It says, Aben announces ambitious exploration plans for Justin Gold Project in the Yukon and Forest Kerr Gold Project in BC's Golden Triangle region. I recall last year where the stock doubled in a matter of what seemed like 30 days on anticipation of drilling of that Forest Kerr project. You've added Justin. Let's be very clear to the market. You're out there looking for high-grade gold. You've mentioned in the past, of course, you're going to find different things, but the goal here is 2 projects that can deliver some high-grade hits. Give me some context there, Jim.
Yeah, you bet. I've always had the philosophy, if you're going to be in the gold business, exploration side of things, not developing, there's a sweet spot. If you can find an area that's known for high grade, go there, see what you can come up with. And, so that's what got me into the Golden Triangle 3 years ago. And it brought me to the Yukon, back in 2010. And I've had a project up there since then. We did discover an intrusion-related system, which is generally known as a little lower grade bulk tonnage, kind of like a Fort Knox and Victoria gold, that sort of thing. But what we've done quietly over the last few years, spent 100,000 here and 100,000 there, and we've come up with a very high-grade zone next to that lower-grade intrusion. It's a different type of system. It's orogenic. It's very much like Golden Predator, where they've come up with some staggering grades. They still have yet to come up with a resource, but they're known for very high grades. They're actually shipping bulk tons to Watson Lake to a mill.
Right.
And, not a well-known fact, but that's how high grade it is. It's gravity-fed water mill. It's really great. We're right next to it. It looks like an extension of the Three Aces. So we've called it the Lost Ace. And we're going to go up there this year and spend about $1 million, maybe $1 million. The budget's actually about $1.3 million. We can drill up to 10 diamond drill holes, and we can put in, upwards of 20 rotary air blast holes, which is a RAB drill, which is really good for near surface exploration work. We go 20 to 50 meters deep with this rotary air blast. It moves really quickly. Almost like, we get the same information and value as trenching and that sort of thing, but this takes us down to a little bit deeper depth. And, in the scheme of things, it's a couple $100,000 will get us about 20 holes.
Excellent. And let me just provide some context and clarity real quick. We're talking about the Justin project right now, correct?
This is the Justin project in the Yukon. Yes. It's on the east side of the Yukon, right off the main hauling road from the Cantong mine, which is further to the north.
So Justin will see approximately 2,000 meters of drilling. That'll commence here within the next week and a half or two in early June. That program ends, and then drilling begins at Forest Kerr. I know a lot of people are excited for you to follow up on some of the high-grade hits that you were really successful with early on in the program. And the rest of the program was what, people in the business, especially geologists, like to call a technical success. You learned a lot about the project, but you weren't able to quite duplicate those super high-grade results that you got. You were kind of a victim of your own success there.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that northward extension of that north boundary zone that you're looking for this time around.
Well, we did 2 of our earlier holes were drilled parallel to each other to the north, but there was a wide gap between them. And a lot of what we ran into, the why things weren't as great and we couldn't keep coming up with stellar, and it was because we couldn't build new pads. We only had a limited number of drill pads for the drill to work off of, so you're limited to angles you can reach off of those pads. We have now got our permits going forward for another 5 years of drilling, and that's 55 drill pad locations that have been approved. So we now can put pads where we want them to get better angles. what we're thinking is there's something up to the north, because we did extend 2 holes last year to the north. They might be about 100 meters apart. And as we hit to the end of the holes, we started experiencing some pretty good mineralization.
Right.
And as we know from looking at some of the other holes where, you start hitting and you keep going, boom, you can get into some pretty rich stuff. So we want to go up there and put in a new pad a little closer to this area and drill in between them, knowing the sort of orientation of which way these, the veins run, et cetera, there, we could be into something there. That's a good place to start. And then we can go to the south a little bit, back to that old Noranda hole. We never had a good pad location there that would help us truly test it. It was what we call spearfishing from like 180 meters away, trying to hit an exact pinpoint where Noranda back 1991 hit 300 and what was it, 300 and 40 some odd grams over 1 meter.
Right.
That's pretty spectacular. We don't know what's around it because, well, we never saw the core. All we saw were some old logs. That's looking like an area that we could go and do something like we did last year and drill underneath it. So, there's 2 areas to get started in, and then we've got something down in the south boundary zone. We had good success there with more of a polymetallic. It was high grade gold and copper, and then there was also silver and zinc. And those were very broad intersections, upwards of 100 meters, and carried throughout. So that's an area we need to get back into and look in a little more detail. We were very limited. We had 1 pad there. So you can only do so much. We can put a bunch around it and start poking. And I think that that's an area that we could expand on. Or more importantly, we think that's an area that we can expand on. And then we've got a geophysical survey being flown, starting probably in the next week. The whole boundary zone is going to get flown, and that'll overlay the existing geochem completely. And if there's areas we want to go in and really focus on, we can go in there with a drone geophysical survey, because they're really quite good at what they do now. They're really high res, and we can't do the whole region in with a drone because the wind comes firing up that valley pretty quick. We want to keep it to smaller locations, but it's going to give us a lot more targets going forward as we head south.
That's a lot of news flow, Jim. You have 2,000 meters at Justin. You're planning an initial 5,000 meters at Forest Kerr.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're successful, you're going to add to that, I imagine. Let's talk about the Treasury. You were smart enough to get a financing done at higher prices last year. How is that looking? The program is fully funded, as I understand it, right?
Yeah, we've got just over $5 million in the Treasury right now to get us through this year. That we could actually cover the Yukon as well with that. If we have success coming out of the chute like we did last year or anywhere along the line, we have the ability to raise more money at higher prices. We're in good shape. We're in very good shape. And one of the reasons I think the stock has been responding so well since the beginning of the year, it's just on a steady upward trend. We're in the low 20s now. Last year we were down around 10 cents, I think 10.20, or 10 to 12 cents. So we've built a huge base, really good base here.
And then what happened, Jim? I encourage everybody, by the way, to look at a 3-year chart, because it's pretty consistent, right? It hits that 10-cent level, it bounces and bases right around that 20-cent level, and if you get any kind of luck, you're back up there to the 40, 45, 50-cent level. My funny, not funny question was, and then what happened after you based at 20 cents last year?
Well, our very first hole was nothing less than spectacular,
right.
And that just set the ball in motion. And then you've got a lot of ability there to make good money. If you own the stock now, or if you own the stock, say January to now, and you're waiting, and anywhere along the line, we hit any kind of good results, and if we can carry on with that, then it'll start creating its own base up higher.
Absolutely.
if you don't, if the market isn't totally enamored with it, what a lot of people do, I guess, is they get their money back and ride it, right?
That's the game. That's the game for a lot of
game.
people.
And then they wait until the next year, and you can, I guess it looks like it happens over. It's kind of like Groundhog Day. Here we are again. And but at the end of the season, because it's a 4 to 5 month season up there,
Sure.
and then you're getting chased out by anywhere 30 to 40 feet of snow.
Right.
Through the winter, and now it's, I think by the time we get in there this year, which Cornell, the guy running the show up there, has been asked by so many people, when do you start drilling? When do you start drilling at Forest Kerr? And so he's got it down. He's got surgically. He's like run by like a military guy, and he said, yeah, we should start drilling at what do you say, June 28th at 4:00.
There we go. Well, we went a couple of months without speaking, Jim. I get the feeling we're going to be talking several times a month here, moving on forward for the next 3 to 4 months. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon, and I'm looking forward to the first set of assays and getting those drills turning. Nothing like that in this business.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be good.
Fantastic. Jim, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
All right, you bet. Thanks.